people wonder where ideas come from, and songs and styles and whatever. And quite frankly, at that point in time, we realized we needed, and we had started to more so on the Rockin' Into the Night record, but we really needed to go in a different direction. No guarantee that it was going to work, but guaranteed that if we kept doing the same thing over and over again, we would fail.
It wasn't going to work. Yeah.
It wasn't going to work,
yeah.
you know. So,
well, the beauty of that song is that that is such an unconventional song where you have the guitar melody line is totally unrelated to the song melody line, and how you guys came, that's not common in rock.
No, it isn't. Well, and again, the very first inspiration for the song musically gave me the idea for that riff was the Cars tune, Just What I Needed.
Just What I Needed. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So people go, the Cars, really? And so I remember the first time I heard Just What I Needed on the radio, I hated it. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I thought it was quirky and goofy and too new wave for me, whatever.
That was like 77, 78 or something like that.
Yeah,
I think,
probably.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, right in there, 78.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hit the button soon enough
to shut it off.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, listen to this guy. I don't mind you hanging around, wasting all my time. It's like, what is he doing? You know. So a couple of days later, I'd be riding around. Oh, here's that stupid song again. I'd move it. Finally, I heard it, and it was a little bit further down the line, and it was like the chorus. And make a long story short, after about, I don't know, a week, 10 days or so of hearing the song quite a bit on the radio, I could not get enough of it. I could not get enough of it. And I realized the simplicity of the song, for me as a guitar player, were the eighth notes. Dun, 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 and just had that groove. Well, if you go and compare, and I used to do this at radio stations, they'd say, could you play something on the air? I said, well, I'm not one to sit there, you know, by myself and do some Doyle Dykes solo performance. But I said, I demonstrated how Just What I Needed was played.
Oh, okay.
And I segued as I was playing it right into Hold On Loosely. And I said, it's all the eighth notes. And I said, I was probably, from best I remember, I was probably sitting on the couch one day at home, you know, watching TV with a guitar and drool pouring out of your mouth. You know, just going ding, 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 you know, playing eighth notes, and then ding, 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 ding. Hey, that's kind of cool. Dun, 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 dun. And does it sound like the Cars? No.
Nothing like them.
Influenced by the Cars? Yes. Is it a way to just take the blinders off and pull something in and make it your own? Yeah. So that's where that whole style came from, which evolved into Caught Up in You as well, another eighth note thing. It was what people call the signature sound, and other songs as well. So yeah, we were very lucky. We hit on something, and that perfect storm came together where we unbeknownst to us, met Jim Peterick through a third party, got together with him, had some Cars influenced ideas, a great melody and title that Don had, and next thing you know, lovely song. And the relationship continued for the next two records anyway. The Special Forces that had Caught Up in You on it. And, he and Don wrote Chain Lightning, and Jim and I wrote Fantasy Girl, and other ones. Got us very, very tight. And I have to add one more thing as far as a special moment.
Yeah.
Was the opportunity to be in a band with Benjamin Orr.
Your Cars influence.
Yeah. And that happened with the band Big People, which was Liberty DeVito, Derek St. Holmes, myself, Pat Travers, and Benjamin Orr. Was
it weird when you first left, like not weird that you weren't doing it anymore, but weird that you were doing something else? That like did it take a while to get used to that?
Yeah, it's
Your new
actually
life?
interesting because I'm trying to think chronologically. First thing I did after 38 Special, I went out and did some dates with Brian Howe, who had left Bad Company, and but it was like maybe one weekend, and then maybe the next month I'd do a couple more, and you know, it was kind of fun, and that led to Big People.
Okay.
And that happened as an accident. Actually, Michael Cardelloni, who is currently the drummer in Skynyrd, and before that he was Fogerty's drummer, and he was in the Damn Yankees. He moved to Atlanta. He was dating a girl that I knew, and he said, "I'm living in Atlanta now, and let's get together, whatever." So he said, "Why don't we?" You know, he said, "I got nothing to do." He said, "Let's put a band together and do something on the weekends, or, you know, maybe we can go have some fun." So I called Derek St. Holmes, who was a buddy of mine, and he lived in Atlanta, and said maybe he'd be interested. So then there were three. So a mutual friend of Michael's and Derek's came by and joined us and said, "Well, you guys ought to really think about rounding this out and make it something bigger than just going out and having some fun on a weekend." So what he means, you know, get another guitar player, bass player, whatever. So we started mulling the idea around, and Charlie Brusco, who was managing Skynyrd at the time, and we had known him. He managed the Outlaws years ago, and we got with him. He said, "Well, who are some people that you like or that you think might be good for this project?" So the first guy that I came up with as far as bass players was Ben Orr, because I had become such a huge guitar fan by then. And Derek knew how to get in touch with Elliot Easton. He said, "I'll call Elliot and get Ben's phone number." And the Cars were defunct at this point in time. And then I think Derek himself said, "How about, I wonder what Pat Travers is doing?" And I said, "I haven't seen him in years. We did some shows together." So the next thing you know, we've got a band. They're in. Ben says, "Yeah, I'm coming." He was living in Vermont at the time. He says, "I'm in." And Pat was in. So we get to the first rehearsal. I'll never forget.
Where were you rehearsing, man? Because everybody's all over the place.
Well, they all came to Atlanta because there was a studio in Atlanta, Crossover Communications, that had big rehearsal facilities, and Derek was there and Michael was there. So three of us were there. So you're basically talking about two people coming in. So, and Pat was living in Orlando at the time, so he wasn't that far away.
Yeah, he's still there, I think. Actually.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is. So, so first day, I remember Ben coming to my house. Somebody picked him up at the airport, and I opened the door, and there's Benjamin Orr and all his glory and just whatever. And I said, "God," I said, "You're Ben Orr." And he goes, "So I've been told, partner." He was a character. And we went, and Michael, on the first rehearsal, Michael Cardelloni said, "Guys, I got something to tell you. I've been offered an audition with Skynyrd." And we're going, "This guy that came up with this whole scheme, you know, and now you're leaving." He goes, "Well, I'm not going to get, I haven't gotten the gig yet," or whatever. I said, "Don't worry, Michael, you'll get the gig."
Yeah. And
so, I mean, it was like total depression.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And Pat turns around and goes, don't sweat it." I said, "Don't sweat it." Why? He goes, "I'll call Lib." I said,
"Okay.
Lib who?" He goes, "Liberty DeVito." I said, "Right, you're going to call Liberty DeVito, and he's going to come down here and do this." And he goes, "He'll love it. He'll love it." And Liberty was living in Orlando at the time.
Oh, okay. So that was pretty convenient.
So that's how he and Pat knew each other.
Right.
So So Pat goes over in the corner, talking on his cell phone. He comes back, goes, he's in. What do you mean? He goes, yeah. He said, he just got off stage at Madison Square Gardens with Billy, and just happened to catch him, told him who was in the band. He goes, yeah, count me in.
That's pretty cool.
Next weekend, there it was. And now we had a band. So leading up to your question, we rehearsed. Our first show was in Nova Scotia. There was a big
oh my God, a festival or something?
Yeah, big festival, big 3-day festival at the Can-Am Speedway or something. And it was
let's pick a place as far away as possible for our first gig.
we had to fly from Atlanta to Bangor, Maine, and then from there connect to, anyway, but big shows, ZZ Top and Nazareth and so on and so on, 3-day festival, and we were on the show. So we played, and I called my wife and talked to her afterwards. She goes, what was it like? I said, to be honest with you, it was like I've never been in another band. It just felt.
Wow. Yeah. So that was, wow. So that was the right place for you to be at that time.
Absolutely. And we had been together now probably, April, May, June. It was probably, we'd been together for about 4 months rehearsing. So we got to know each other. But that first gig, it was just completely natural.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then we did.
That had to be like stress relieving.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Huge. It was like it breathed new life into you.
Yeah.
It was a new family. Everybody got along great. We hadn't even started. All we were doing were our own songs.
Oh.
So we would do 3 Cars songs, 338 Special songs, some Nugent stuff, Derek,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if we were doing any Billy Joel at the time. And Pat Travers, we did, of course, Boom Boom Out Go the Lights.
Out Go the Lights. Yeah.
I said, damn, Pat, I said, All My Life, Hold On Loosely was a closing song. I said, not anymore, man.
Man. That's a great song.
Pat and I worked real well together. It was a lot of fun. And so we were just beginning to explore new ideas as far as writing together. And unfortunately, we never had the opportunity because within a year, Ben was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and, lost him October of 2000. 52 years old, and what a talent. As Liberty always said, he goes, he's the rock star of the band, but he was natural. He didn't try. He didn't have to try. He had a voice that was just unbelievable, and he just stepped up to a microphone and just had this glow about him. You know what I'm saying? It was just magical.
It's cool, your reaction to, because I hear this all the time, to certain people, like when you open the door, it's like, holy shit, you're Benjamin Orr. It's like your hero. And even though like there are people, he might be looking at you as, oh my God, right? It's so cool to hear that.
I never get jaded. I mean, it's just, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Of it. And it was really cool. And that was the beginning of a new adventure for me. And we were all obviously devastated for Ben, but
yeah,
we learned a lot of lessons that last summer. He had already been diagnosed. And check this out, that doctor says you got 3 or 4 months.
God, man, I cannot imagine.
And we're not knowing what to say, let alone how to ask the question. And finally, it's kind of like, well, before we could say anything, Ben said, well, start booking as many gigs as possible. I'm going out the way I came in, doing what I love. And it was so inspirational. We took a lot of care with him. He went out there and sang like a bird, talked to people about what was going on, fans of his, from whether they were Cars fans or, whatever. And I'll never forget, I think it was in Minot, North Dakota. By the way, if you ever want to know what the slogan is, what the Minot, North Dakota slogan is, it's "Why not? My not." I can't make that up.
Why not?
And it was a big, again, outdoor show. And we had played, and I guess it was Quiet Riot. Rudy Sarzo came up to me, another really cool guy.
I had Rudy on the show a long time ago. He's a pretty deep guy, yeah.
And he came up to me, and there was somebody else playing. I was on the side of the stage, and he said, "Hey, Jeff." I said, "Hey, Rudy, how you doing, man? Long time." And he goes, "What a cool project you got going there." He said, "Is that Benjamin Orr from the Cars?" I said, "Yeah." Ben had lost some weight and whatever, so he didn't look well, but he was still performing very well. And I said, "Yeah, man, he got dealt a bad card." And I told him, I said, this was probably in July. I said, "He's probably got a couple of months." He says, "What do you mean?" "It's to live." And I'll never forget, Rudy looked down, just kind of pensively looked down at the ground and said, "Man," he goes, "a couple hours ago during a sound check, I was screaming at the monitor man because I couldn't hear my monitors." And he said, "That's it, no more." And it really, I said, "Yeah, you know."
Yeah, man. What your health is yours and your family's. That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, I mean, Ben could have easily, I probably would have done, I've crawled in a hole and just disappeared until, until I went away. But no, let's go out and let's rock and roll. And that was just like.
So you had some good things go. Your transition was not painful. It was very organic.
Absolutely. It was not painful. The only pain came in was immediately afterwards, where guys that I've lived 35 years of my life with, on top of high school, or beyond 30 special, they're gone now. And I don't have that band anymore, which I have been in at that time half of my entire life. I was in that band. Half of my life in that band, and it was gone. But I got over it pretty quickly. And really, the real turning point was that first show with Big People.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when we lost Ben, we were all devastated. We stayed together in our friendships, but we were never able to put it back together. I mean, Ben was just something very, very special. And, but because I had made friends with Liberty, and he called me one day, and through him and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, invited me to become part of that band. And
that came from Liberty.